So there are a couple of things I would like to talk to you guys. Usually this session I demonstrate some slides and others. You might have seen those videos in the Facebook or YouTube. Today I may not go over any slide or anything. Instead, I will try to take your questions. Instead, I will try to talk to you guys. There are common question people have. People don't have idea what is QA. Many people they don't have, right? But they want to do QA course. So what happens if you don't have any idea and you want to do QA course? You end up with so guys, as I said, people just want to jump into QA, right? And one more thing, the mic will be in your end. You can turn on the mic at any time, but in your convenience, and you can ask question. But if you are not talking, you can just turn off your mic. So you don't have to ask me to turn on the mic. You can just turn on and ask me question if you want. So people, my point is, if you know that this is a good profession and people it gives a good money, you might have heard from your friends, family members, and you just jump into a course, right? And you spend your money. And most of the cases you end up with failure, not success. Because if you do not know why you are doing, you will end up with failure, not success, right? And moreover, it's not a grocery job that you are just doing it for today, and after 2 weeks, 2 months, you just leave that leave that job. It's not something like that. It is a career choice, right? You just don't make this choice for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. You make it for good amount of time, right? Not for 6 months, right? So you need to understand the career first, right? Before you make this move, you have to understand inside and out that why you are doing it, and is it worth for you, and can you have that commitment all the way along, right? So all these things need to be clarified before you jump into and invest your money. We are here, we are doing a commercial service, right? We are a for profit organization. We definitely work for profit, we definitely work for some benefit, right? Financial benefit. But we have to ensure, like, not everyone does, but in our case we try to do this. So we would like to ensure that it is good fit for you. You understand what is QA, we understand why you will choose this career path, right? And then only you can decide that whether it is for you or it is not for you, right? There is another confusion. One is you are unable to choose whether it is for you or not. You are unable to determine you can pursue this career or not. Sometimes maybe you are committed, you will do, but you have lack of confidence that maybe I cannot do it, maybe it's too hard, it's too tough. Software engineering and all those things people has in their mind. I never went to IT, I never been in QA engineering, means I never been in software, I never did programming, so how I'm going to handle all those? So people has lack of confidence, right? Even you can decide that, okay, I like this career, right? So once you decide that this is my career path, and then you have second thing, that do I have that ability, right? Can I do it? You have lack of confidence, right? For this career in long run, or this course is by itself is enough for that? So yeah, the good question. You need to understand what is QA all about, right? At first, once you understand what is QA all about, and then you need to understand that who else can do it, that will answer your question. First thing is career choice. You need to identify whether it is for you or not. Number two is build up your confidence. Can I do it or not? Number three is, put your time, energy, and find an appropriate mentor or guidance. You can do it by your own, right? I can give you free resources, you can do it by your own, but many cannot do it by their own. So you may need someone to help you out, right? And then you need to find some people who really can help you out, right? Who really has that capacity to do it. So that's a final thing. So we say always how to do, right? So how to do is not a tough task, right? How you become a QA automation engineer is not a tough thing. Tough thing is to decide whether you would like to be a QA automation engineer. That's very tough. People always struggle to get answer of that question. So in a software engineering team, right, the people, those who create, let's take an example of your web applications, the applications you use always. Let's say you use amazon.com, you use bestbuy.com, walmart.com, or all those shops and all those web applications you are using, right? These are being built by some people like you and me, right? So that complete team works together. Some people like you and me, some people build that applications, some people maybe say what to build, right? Maybe let's say think about a banking application, right? You may have your banking application in your phone, right? As a developer, a programmer, those who write code, right, build that application, they don't have any banking knowledge. Actually, they are not established banker, right? So they do not know the banking business, right? So there should be some people who will tell or who will explain what banking business they want to implement in one application, right? So we need people those who know banking, we need people those who code, we also need people those who will manage the team, right? So we say project manager, so we need project manager too, right? So see, we have three category of people: a person who knows business, right, banking business, like a banker, maybe someone else, I don't know, my wording may not be right, right? So someone who understands the business, and the person who can code, right, build an application. Then also we need some people to manage that whole team, right? We have now by this time 3%, right? Now also we need a person who will test it, who will say, okay, this application is working as expected. Means what? If you have a banking application, what you want to do, you want to check your balance, right? You want to transfer money, you want to quick pay jail, or maybe you want to do transfer bank to bank, you want to pay bill to your credit card, you want to pay bill to your electricity or utilities, something else, you want to enable some auto pay. All this you have been doing in your regular life. Is there anyone who hasn't done this type of activities in your mobile application, in your online banking application? You all used it, but you never thought behind the scene, right? How this thing came in your hand, right? So we are now talking about not as user, we are talking about how this thing came from the ground zero to your hand, right? It was not there once upon a time, right? They build this new application, every time they are adding some feature, they are removing some feature, and they keep updating you that, oh hey, this new feature came into your application, use this, use that. So what we would like to address here, we would like to address, to build this small application you are using, banking application, it requires a huge teamwork. It is not possible by one. It is maybe possible, it is not impossible, but it is not commercially convenient to build it by only one person, right? Because it's a huge thing. It's $1 million. One banking application is being used by million customer, right? Not only 1-2 people. So it has to be that much accurate, it has to be that much efficient enough and secure enough, so that it can serve many customers, right? Because it's about money, right? If the security is not good, if your account being hacked by someone else, and if you cannot transfer, let's say you placed auto pay for your credit card, right? Let's say in the 10th of your 10th day of the month, and your auto pay did not get executed, you will be paying interest and extra money for the credit card bill, right? So see, if it happens with you, is going to happen with many other customers. If it happens with many other customers, how the company is going to be impacted? The banking company is going to be severely impacted, right? Because see, as soon as you unable to pay bill for that month, and you have, let's say, $2,000 in your account, and they're going to charge, let's say, 5%, 10%, 20% interest, whatever you have, like whatever way you have your whatever interest rate applicable for your card, right? So if you have 10 million people using that same app, 10 million people are going to give that 20% or 15% interest for whatever the balance they have, whatever the credit they have, right? Just for one mistake, right? Now think about other transactions, because the same application is transacting maybe millions. Now you want this application to be very accurate, you want application to be very much responsive, right? Have your account, like your bank account, like Chase Bank, let's say, or Citibank, and you click and it takes 5 minutes to log in. Do you think it will be fine, happy thing, or you'll be just like useless? Chase is useless, right? City is useless, and you may end up with something else, right? So you won't accept it. So you want your app to be very responsive, you want your app to be nice and clean and bug free, problem free. Bug free means we are talking about problem free. It should not have any problem. The users like you and me should be able to use this one in a nicer manner, right? Without any problem, and easily. Not like, it should be user friendly too, right? If it is not user friendly, you can't use it properly as well. So all these require lots of effort. It's not like one day effort, it's not like one person effort, it's require a teamwork, it's require number of people to be involved, right? So in a software engineering team, in a corporation, like in a larger corporation we are talking about, it requires number of people, not one number, not two, it might be 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, it could be 15. Depends on project size, depends on, depends on, there are number of variable factors, but there should be number of people, right? And these number of peoples need to have different set of capacities. If you have everyone knows programming, no one understand business, then it's not going to work, right? Because someone has to explain you the banking business, then only you can code according to that and build that application, right? And you have 15 people team, you have no one to manage the team, no one to schedule meeting, no one to follow up, no one to, because this team may be dependent on many teams, so you need inter-team communication. So who is going to do all this for you, right? You need to have someone, right? So some companies have project managers, some companies do not have, depending on how big those companies are, how complex their projects are, right? But someone has to take the responsibility of being of leading that project, right? So now we are talking about quality of a project. We hasn't spoke about the quality of a project, right? Of a product, that application. Who is going to ensure that this banking application is working appropriately before they send it to millions of people, right? Millions of the customers. Someone within that team has to ensure that this application is working well. It is working, it can do auto pay, it can transfer, it can you can pay bill your credit cards, you can pay bill of your credit cards, you can pay bill, maybe you can do ACH and other transactions too, you can do same bank transaction, you can do interbank transaction, you can do international transaction, whatsoever allowed under that account, right? Now again, when we are talking about account, this could be a personal account, this could be account to a business account, it could be checking or all those things, savings, right? So there are lots of categories and combinations. Now all these need to be tested before you give it to others. Like think about it, right? When you cook food at home and 40 guests are coming at your house, right? It's Ramadan time, right? Talking about food is very much what, it's actually 5:25, only 2.5 hours to go, I think, right? So we can talk about food. We can talk about food. Let's say you are preparing some shahi halim, it's one of my favorite food actually. So and you are preparing it for 40 people. Now yeah, I think everyone understands this. So if you are preparing that halim, will you pass this halim to 40 guests without taking the test? Even you are in fasting mood, you will not eat it, but you will somehow taste it, correct? You are not going to do it. It's going to be like for you, because you have to see salt is well, you have to see the spices are well, all these things you have to check before you expose it to 40 guests. You need to ensure that your food is good enough. Exactly same way, any application you are using today in your phone, in your computer, all these applications, we are user, we are outsider, we are none from Chase Bank, we are none from Citibank, right? We don't work for them, we are their customer, right? Before they send it to us, they ensure that this product is running well, this product is working as expected, the salt is enough, the spice is enough, color is nice, the meat is well cooked, and the dal is well cooked. All these things you need to ensure before you send it to your customer. That is why it became very important to have someone, in this, to have someone who can really do it efficiently. So now we are talking about user experience, right? We are talking about how we can ensure that this Chase app is working as expected, right? Then you have to become a simple Chase Bank application user, nothing else, to tell that your Chase Bank application is working well functionally, right? Its functionality is working well. One, if you want to test an application, tell that how this application working, you have to become a good user. That's the number one thing, right? And you have been doing it not in your workplace, but in your real life, every day you are using application. Let me give you an example. If I give you a website, right? let's say if I give you any website to, let's say you signed up, right? Let's take this example. You signed up in a link, right? Using username, your name, email address, and then you got it. We replied you with you got an automated reply with the meeting link, right? Now, what if that when you submitted, nothing happened? It didn't say it is successful. It didn't send you an email. What you would have said? You would have said, why I signed up? I'm not getting any confirmation, no success message. I'm not getting an email link, right? So why? It's not right. You will definitely say it's not right, correct? If you try to use your mobile application to your, you want to try your transfer, you cannot transfer. That means you'll say, oh, this app is not working. It's supposed to transfer money. It cannot transfer money, right? So any software you want to tell it is good or bad, the first thing you need to know how to use this one, right? How to use this one and why it is there. You have to know why this 5 feature is there. So it has nothing to do with technical expertise. It makes little sense, right? It has nothing to do with technical expertise as of now, right? So as a QA engineer, when we say a QA analyst or a QA engineer, they initially is their part of their job to know how this application works and how it should look like, right? From the user perspective. That's the first thing a QA engineer does. Does it mean that a QA engineer does not have to be technical? Answer to the question is no. He has to be technical. He has to know how this application built. He has to know how to program, right? But in his level, for his requirement, not for application developer, right? So what that means, because if you do all these examination, all these tests of a simple application, think about Amazon.com, right? How many feature you think they have? Thousands, right? They have thousands feature in their website, correct? If you ask a human to test it, it may take years to test that. So what we want to do, we want to do this one in a programmatic manner, so that it saves our time. So let's say you use your phone to log into Chase app and you click. So this you do by yourself. Now, or we want to save our time. We cannot do it by click. If there is thousands click we need. We are going to write program. The program is going to test on behalf of us, right? It's not like automated. We automate it. We write. It's not coming from heaven, right? So due to that reason, you need to know the technical stuff. You need to know programming stuff, right? And think about it, right? You cannot really say a Halim is good or bad unless you know the real taste of Halim, right? If you do not know how a Halim is being made, how can you tell that, okay, this is, you cannot judge it, right? You may say, oh, hey, it looks good, it sounds good, but you cannot really review that Halim properly. You cannot really take the test properly. So you need to have inside and out knowledge of that Halim, right? So same way, if you think about an application, it is being built by application developer, programmers, right? And then it comes to people like you who is going to say this is functionally all right, is doing good. If it is not doing good, you are just making a claim. Is this function I cannot transfer money from Chase Bank to Citibank account, right? So you complain, you make complaint the way you make complaint at home. The food is not good. This doesn't have salt. That doesn't have this. I don't like this food. I need, you make so much of complaint at home. I don't know. I actually don't make. So don't think that I do. So I don't do. So you may do complain, right? So same way, if you don't like a dress, you will say, oh, I don't like this button here. I want button a little bit down below, right? Or I don't like this white button. I need a green button or blue button. So you make all this complaint in your regular life. Why? because you don't like that item, you don't think this is appropriate. Same way, you need, when you test an application, you need to know how to make complaint, how to say that this is not right. It is not your responsibility to fix, it is a developer responsibility to fix. Your responsibility is to find out a problem. So in order to identify that problem, you need to understand all the components, right? So that is why you have to go through number of segments, number of modules, which will allow you to understand how a software is built, what are the components available, right? What are the things inside a software we may face, right? So that it does not mean to you unknown. So I would like to give you another example. So let's say, all of you have a native language, right? You speak in maybe Hindi, Urdu, or Bangla, or English, whatsoever language you have, right? That is your native language, right? So one day you thought to be a poet, right? So which language you will give first priority? You may know your native language and English. Which one you will give priority, right? Your native, because you have full excellency on that, right? You have expert level knowledge on that, maybe, right? Or maybe mid-level knowledge, right? Now let's say you are learning now Japanese, or maybe English, let's say new. Let's take Japanese. I always like to take this example of Japanese. So if you start learning Japanese, you can speak maybe, but can you start writing it by 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months? You cannot write poem, right? It will be too hard. That poem will be, people will laugh at you, right? Because why? You do not know in depth of that, right? But if you want to, let's say you want to do some job in Japanese market, you have to learn Japanese, you have to talk to Japanese people, right? Your coworkers are Japanese, you have to address them in Japanese, right? But maybe you in that case, you don't have to learn Japanese in such a level so that you can become a poet. If you want to become a poet, your language excellency has to be higher than a regular people, right? I'm talking about a standard poem. I'm talking about a good poem, right? If you want to write a good poem, your language excellency has to be above the average people, right? But if you're average people, you want to communicate, you want to let people know what you want to know, or you want to listen or hear what people are talking about, in that case, you need to learn in certain level, right? So exactly same thing happens here. You are not building an application, but you have to talk through the application. You need to identify or understand what this application is trying to talk to you, right? So you need to understand this component. So you need to level up your knowledge on programming, on all other technical factor at that level, not in the level of, just like very bottom, not in the level of poet. You can become a poet if you find it interesting, and you think about, oh no, I can take it more one step ahead, or I can make myself specialized in poetry, or maybe journalism, or something else, right? You can take those specialization. So as a QA engineer, you surely have to understand all the components of an application. Technical component we are talking about, we talked about functional components, right? How it works, that's everyone understood, I hope. And the second thing, we have to understand the technical components as well in certain level. It will vary, your situation to situation, your project to project. In some project you may have to learn X component a lot, some project you may have to learn Y component a lot, right? But in most of the projects you will have to learn X, Y, Z, all the components at certain level. You can turn on your mic, you can talk. Okay, I'll be happy to take your question. So I will go back, if you don't have any question as of now, I will go back to the question of Noman Farooq. If someone is not good at programming, okay, I will answer. Okay, so understood. So the thing is that we, yeah, right. So we do not, when you come here, we really do not consider what you know. That's not what is our importance. Anything we are about to teach in the course, that will be from ground zero, right? So what you need to have is your commitment and is your ability to communicate. If you cannot, like, as of now, if everything sounds good to you, means you can hear to me, you can communicate to me, that means you will be able to follow through, right? So we don't expect you to know anything, to be honest. If you don't know anything, that's much better. Your brain is fresh, we can build you from ground zero. If your brain is preloaded and those loaded items may not be appropriate, may be full of junk or partially spoiled, it is hard for us to refresh your brain. It is hard for us to clean your brain. So if your brain is clean, you are in much more safer side, not in a dangerous side. Okay, this is not a time for you to decide whether you are good at programming or bad at programming, because we consider you don't know anything. You don't know programming, right? So we will teach you programming from the zero. Maybe the time you tried programming, you didn't get it properly, or maybe you didn't, there is a way of learning. Okay, way of learning can help Mr. X to learn faster. Way of learning can demotivate Mr. X a lot. So there are differences. Now I hope that answers your question. Right. So if you can reset your brain, you can dump anything out of your brain and come with a fresh brain. That will help. Okay, whenever a person has this mindset that I know things, I know this item, what they do is not their fault. Their mind will take this command. They will not take the contents seriously. They will not take the lessons seriously. And if you skip 1 or 2 lessons, you will be out of nowhere. You will not be able to march with us. Because at the time 19th May course starts, if my health is good, if we are not lost, if something does not happen really bad, we don't miss classes. It is very rare. Okay, it is very rare. I'm telling you guys, it is very rare. If we miss, you have to understand this is really exceptional. There was no way for me to avoid it. Okay, so I'm a bit serious on this. So in that case, you will not have any chance to cover up that class. You will struggle, right? So you will come to next class because you already know that, oh, I understand what Jahidul said. So you are not learning that, and coming to the next class, you will see everything like, everything black. You will not find anything easy. So it is better for you to reset your brain and have that understanding that I don't know anything. I came here, I'm investing my time with this gentleman to help me out install this thing in my brain, right? So if you come with this mindset, it will help, because it will help your brain to work hard, right? If your brain does not have this sense that I have to work hard, it will never work hard. It is definitely a psychological thing as well. All right, so I would like to go back to the question of IT background is compulsory for this career in long run, or this course itself is enough for that? I think I have just answered, but again, I will just tell few more things. This background, you can see this wall, right? What is the color? I
White
don't
or
know.
cream?
Let us assume this is not exact white, but let's say is white. It's just like a plain background, right? Nothing interesting in this background. What I would like to say, if your background is clean, we can arrange it properly. If your background is having lots of junk, we have to clean up the junk first, and then we need to make this background nicer. So if you do not have IT background, if you have IT background and it is appropriate, if you have IT background and you have learned something appropriate, not inappropriate, and you have learned, you are not overconfident. If you have learned, which is really good, they are not welcome here. They're definitely welcome. You should have this thing in your mind that I should not be overconfident about my knowledge. If you are overconfident about your knowledge, you will struggle. Just few minutes back I said, because let's say we have X number of items to cover, components to cover in a course. You may be aware about 2 or 3 components or 5 components. What about rest of the components? You are not aware. So by knowing few components, please do not decide that you just do not decide that it's okay, I will do it. Because I have seen people with computer science background, they dropped out of the course. Okay, I have seen people didn't get success. I've seen people coming from no background, they got success, right? Person who is talking to you today, I do not have any IT background. You can go and check. I do not have any IT background. I do not have any IT background such as bachelor's and master's. I am a non-tech guy. I came from non-tech background, right? I have been working in two positions as of now, right? I work as a QA automation engineer lead, and then I'm working as a DevOps engineer. So how did I make this transition? If I can make, you can make too, right? But it does not happen overnight. Okay, it does not happen overnight. It does not happen. There is no miracle. There is no miracle. Your commitment is the number one key. And you need to understand that time is getting more competitive than before. It's not becoming less competitive, it's becoming more competitive. More you delay, more you put yourself in more competition. So you need to understand this very, very well. More you delay, why I'm saying, let's say 2 years back, right before pandemic, the situation was something. After pandemic, situation is absolutely different. We are not saying there are less job, we are saying there are more competition. Why there is more competition? Because there are many people like you trying to jump into this industry because they have discovered, oh, this pandemic has given a realization to people that the IT is something where we should jump into at this point, right? So people want to stay, like I hasn't went to my office like over a year. Okay, over a year. So that's because of pandemic, right? And when there was no pandemic, there was also remote job. Skilled enough people will hire you wherever you stay. All you need your internet, all you need your work authorization to be here, right? If you work in United States or North America or Canada, right? So it's not about where you stay, it's about what you know, what is your skill set. People is going to hire you after 5 years. It will be very rare people will ask you to go on site. It will be rare, it will not be very common. Now still people will ask you 5 years, 10 years down the line, if you gain that much skill. See, if you are skilled enough, people will hire you wherever you are, because everyone knows in an industry, in this industry, wherever you stay, if you are someone efficient enough, if you have thing in your brain, you will get that job done. So they are willing to pay you because they are paying you for your job, for your skill, not for showing your dresses, not for showing your ties and clothes and expressions and other things. No, they're paying you for your skill set, for your communication, for your dedication, right? Because at the end of the day in tech, we ensure the job is done. It is everywhere, but in tech it is maybe more sensitive. Let's say you are very good developer, but you are unable to fix a problem. What's the catch? Why should I keep you on board? Why should I pay you $1,000? It's a waste of our money, right? We cannot do it. So we ensure if you can get the job done, you are there. So I think I have answered your question, right? Is there any other question anyone have?
Hey Jalil, this is Danish.
Yes, Danish, please.
So I've been through over like a couple of videos, and in that video, what I found out was that each week each video what we do, next week we don't go over that. So by the end of the course, is there any chance that we go through all of those together, like to review or something like that?
Okay, so let me try to understand your question. So you found that we are not repeating a class, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is true because we cannot, if we repeat the same content, we will not be able to finish this course. You understand this, right? So if there are 33 classes, most likely these 33 classes will be separate topic, right? Even if you are more interested, we can add more topics. What that means, let's say it depends upon classes. Not every classes we cover same contents. So let's say whatever we covered in last batch, it is not guaranteed that I will cover 100% in the next batch. I may cover 110%. I may cover 95 to 90%. It depends how collectively everyone does. If collectively everyone does well, you can catch up and you can inspire me that teach me more. I will add up more contents because this is not end of the world. This is just the beginning of the world, right? This gives you a standard background. This gives you a standard ability to fight in the market, to stay in the market, to get your job and survive in your job by keeping your head high. But it is not end of the world. So more you inspire me to teach you more, I will give you more contents. We feel motivated when people want more to learn, right? We can give them more. We can, because not everyone picks up same, but we can tell you that, you know what, these items you can cover if you have more time. If you don't have time, you can skip, right? Because in a class, five students or 80 students, all of them, we don't consider they have the same ability to capture. But you have full right to know what you can capture, what you can learn. So if Mr. X has time, he's going to pick up extra things, right? So we cannot really we cannot really what do you say, repeat the classes. Classes are interrelated, right? We go for manual testing part, which is very short. Then we go to networking part, front end part. There are 3-4 classes or 2-3 classes, and then we go to database, 4-5 classes. These are similar classes, okay? And then we go to Java classes, which is around 10 or 11 classes, maybe less or more, depends how you proceed, depends what I cover. So these are common items. These are one ground, right? One subject, but topics are changing every day. If we don't change the topic, we cannot cover most of the topics, right? So you will be deprived, not me, not us, right? Then once we finish Java, right, we start into other components. We really cannot drop any of them. We can instead we can add. Make sense? So that's why we do not. So you really do not have to review it if you do it in the same class. So let's say this week you have 2 classes. You finish these 2 classes. Go ahead. Whatever the process we follow, you have seen we always tell you to be 1 class ahead or things like that. Whatever the strategy we follow, if you follow that, you should be fine, because at some point you will see there are interrelation. When we go Java, we will again come back to database. You will see some interrelation, right? When you go finish Java and you go other part, programming part, and you go to other framework part, you will see completely interrelated. So that's how you get reviewed, actually, not by direct taking the same class. By doing things, you get, reviewed for your items you covered in earlier classes. Does it make sense, Danish? Okay, thank you. So is there any other question? Okay, after we finish all classes, can we have access videos, or someone failed to learn the course time, she can repeat the class with other batch? Okay, so it is a valid question, but it is not a positive question. Okay, I do not encourage people to join in second batch, but you are welcome. Okay, you are welcome to join if you have valid reason, right? You may, we have lots of issues in our life, and we should have that sorts of empathy, right? That sorts of things in our mind, right? I may also have those difficulties, right? I'm human like you and like anyone else. So if you have some valid reason, you can definitely repeat. We will not additionally charge you for that. But if you do not have valid reason, you just wasted our time and your time, highly likely you will not get chance to repeat. And regarding videos, for some time you will definitely get access to your class videos. Let's say if you come back to us after 1 year, you will not get your class videos. You may get some other batch class videos, okay? Because we archive your older class videos, which is like more than 1.5 year old, right? So so you have those. This is 4 months is course, right? But that's not end of the world. You do 4 months course, and we groom you about 15 days or 1 month, depending on how much you need time to prepare for interviews. If you do course properly, 1 month should be more than enough for you. Then for some people it may take very quick, some people take months. We don't know, we cannot give you assurance, right? It depends how much you studied, and it depends all the circumstances you have in coming days, right? Let's say if you get ready in the month of December, we cannot help you out to get a job in month of December. It's a vacation time, people are already out, the recruiting is closed, hiring is closed, and it will take January and February to pick up market, right? So there are variable circumstances, but the thing is that you have to spend this time, and this is 4 months time, and you need to take it like seriously, that I will work hard, and this is a life-changing event. This is not, if you take it as a life-changing event, if you feel that you have nowhere to go and this is the only thing in your life to do, that change this career, go into tech, start as a QA engineer, and then you can go in other branches. There are other avenues like DevOps engineering, like like software development, like other avenues. You can go other avenues if you want. If you start as a QA, you can move others if you like. If you don't like, people remains in a QA 30 years, 32 years. One of my colleagues at the age like 30, she was 32 years in the company as a QA. And there are people there like the other guy who took a session few days, one of the guest speaker few days back, you might have seen, with Ready API. That gentleman was in the career 25-30 years as a QA. So it depends. I hasn't been that much long because I wanted to do something else. So I moved into DevOps engineering. I moved into cloud computing. So that's my passion. That's my interest. So you will have your interest. You will have your avenues to choose. And then you can move into that, right? So you will have all these, yeah, Kevin, right? Thank you. All these avenues open for you. You can decide on that. But if you don't take it as a life-changing event, if you have plan B, plan C, plan D, then you are not going to, it will be very rare that you will end up with something success. Okay, it is very rare. If you have plan B, you understand what I'm talking about, right? Plan B, plan C. So people always have an alternative, right? People always have an alternative. Always. They think, okay, if I cannot do this, I will do that. If I cannot do this, I will do that. With regards to this, the key to success is not to have plan B, C, D. If you decide you will switch the career, you will work hard until you reach your goal. Some people may take shorter time, some people may take longer time, but you will end up. If let's say you are someone who really do not know how to communicate, sorry, I cannot help you out. If you are someone who cannot really do not have this motivation or do not have this commitment to work hard, I cannot help you, right? That's why we have trial classes. We want you to do the trial classes. We want to see that how you find us. We want to see how you communicate with us, because if your communication is poor, we have to drop you out, right? If you do not have commitment, we have to drop you out. So let's say you have a trial class, you are not reporting to us, you are not communicating with us, that means you are just like you came for test. No, we cannot take your money. Okay, because if we take your money, that means we understood you have the ability to reach until the end if you work hard, if you continue your commitment. But we just don't want to tell come and you'll get a job. We don't know. That's why you have seen all our documentations and everything. Nowhere we actually market ourselves that way. We don't want 100 candidates. We want a small number of people, but we ensure that you pay your money in a proper place. We don't want your money to be wasted, and we feel discomfort in our heart that I know for sure you will not reach out to the goal, right? Because you don't know how to communicate. You do not have logical thought process. You cannot really think. Then why should I take your money and say that you will become a software engineer? There's an entire lie and dishonesty. If among you, any of you find that you do not have logical orientation, you have difficulties to talk, you have difficulties to communicate, please feel free to talk to me, right? Get it assessed completely so that you do not invest your money in a wrong place, okay? Because your money, your time, you can invest it somewhere else and you can get better output. Others, is there any question I can answer? We are almost towards the end.
Yeah, like in the week, it will be week class, or in the class will be in the weekend? Like
No,
what day?
Yeah, it will be on. You'll get invitation that will be on Monday and Wednesday, 6:30 Eastern time.
Okay, sounds good for me. Thank you.
Yeah, it will be Monday and Wednesday 6:30 Eastern time, and the course will start on 19th May, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Okay,
and
thank you.
Yeah, and if any of you hasn't done the trial classes, my strong recommendation is to, still you have time, join trial classes, get yourself familiarized with the system. I know Danish is on the trial class and Noman also in the trial class, Khairul, Hamza, if Kanta also, you were also in the trial classes, so which sounds good. If you know someone, your friends or anyone want to join, suggest them to sign up a trial class, contact to us, because we don't want to familiarize you during the class. We want to save some time. That's the reason we push hard people to join these trial classes, get familiarized with ourselves, how we message, how we communicate and everything, so that you find it's comfortable, so that you get some confidence that we can work with these guys. We like their way of teaching, we like their management. We want to ensure all this because we want you to be happy when you are with us. because we will praise you. Some of you has seen our videos. We do not want to compromise with you with regards to study, right? So we want you to work hard, and we want to take that pain. You can only do this if you like us. If you don't like us, if you don't find it, from your heart, you cannot do this. Meantime, anything you have your channel, you can contact to us, and we'll be happy to help you out. Okay, and we will be happy to see you if you recommend someone to join with us, if this sounds good. Okay, so thank you very much. We have another session on Sunday, which is not about QA, which is another avenue, which is about DevOps engineering. If you are interested, you can join and listen. It does not cost you money, but it will give you idea about another avenue, which most likely I do not offer for the freshers. Still, I expect someone to have some knowledge on programming, but still you can join. You can see if this works for you. It means it will give you at least some knowledge, some idea. If you have time, same time on Sunday next week, DevOps engineering introductory session, you can join. And if not, we'll see you on 19th May, inshallah. All right. Have a very good evening. Assalamu alaikum.